A shit show from the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. Hey, seems good. Good evening. Alright, let's get going. Alright, James Kaufman, World News Report today. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to take a look at, Aurora Borealis, polar lights, aurora for general displays, sprites, jets, elves. Looking at Stevie's, and we'd like to know about all of them. Aurora Borealis, the scientific and most common name for the northern lights. Aurora Australis, the name for the southern lights. Polar lights, a general term for both Aurora Borealis and Aurora Australis. Aurora, a simple shortened name for both northern and southern lights. I've never heard merry dancers before, but I guess they're included. Sprites, fleeting, colorful lights that flicker above large thunderstorms. Now, guys, I had everyone's pulled up. What we do is we have everyone's that sent them in as attachments here. Everyone that sent them as part of their email, Google decided to time their stuff out, and I want to apologize. I don't know if I can recover it because I went back and erased a lot of the emails, not knowing they were going to time my open windows out while I was doing other things. It really pisses me off, but Google is Google, right? We have, sprites, blue jets, brief cone-shaped flashes of light that if you don't see your picture, shoot them in because I'm going to check at the end of the show. And it's my fault. I had them opened in their new windows, and Google decided that they could time them out without permission. I hate the people at Google. Hope they all die in hell. Transition Lumen Events, scientific term for that group of sprites, blue jets, and elves, and other similar phenomena together. And we can go deeper and deeper, but let's get a hold on this. I'm actually going to call someone that wants to call in. I want to show you a whole night, last night, of the Aurora Borealis from Iowa. This is from Iowa. Very, very beautiful. Now listen, if y'all send it in, I had 25 more opened up. Look at that. Wow. Those are, I guess, Stevie's and light pillars. Google decided that there was a time limit on me opening something. I had no idea. They're all opened up on top here. We have everyone that attached as an image their stuff here, ready to go. I had no idea that they were going to time you guys out. So if you don't see your stuff and you didn't attach it as an image, well, send it back and I'll check at the end of the show and make sure to get them played, okay? This is quite... Did y'all see all the shooting stars? We are in the middle of the... is it towards southern meteor shower? So you'll see several meteors come through. And these are... Look, there goes one. These are the larger... There goes another one. These are the larger meteors. See if we see anything else here. Pretty neat show going on actually. No. Well, wow. It got really intense. Now I don't know if it's over or not. I'm not quite sure that I agree with Noah ever. There goes one, or NASA for that matter, ever. What are those things flying over? Birds, planes? I'm also going to call a friend of mine, Dennis Nagel, and Dennis wants to say howdy. It's a beautiful, I think that's called a Stevie or Sprite. Y'all can always, hey, Dennis. Dennis?
How you doing, brother?
Hey, it's James Kaufman, World News Report today. Listen, we're live. I'd like your permission to take your voice live.
Absolutely. Let's go forward.
All right. Hey, we're sitting here looking at Aurora Borealis and maybe some Aurora Australis, the Northern Lights, and all the pretty lights around. And I thought I would touch base with you and say howdy. Always love you and respect you. So, hey, good to hear your voice, man. Good to hear your voice. I had every single person's stuff pulled up, but Google timed out anything that wasn't an attachment. So if you don't see your stuff,
you probably heard I was coming.
Well, I doubt it, but what I have is, look how many beautiful pictures are. What I have, guys, is all the pictures y'all sent me, and we'll go through them. Now, when we do that, I'm gonna...
Now, keep in mind that as soon as I got on the phone, I had to drop the video, so I can't see a thing about what you're doing anymore.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. All we're going to look at is pretty lights. And I love your opinion on what's going on because I had a little bit hesitation as to the truth of, well, anything NASA prevents or presents. Let me just say that. Anything they present, I have a problem with. That's just, I guess, how it's always going to be.
It's a 90-10 thing where 10% of it's true and the rest of it's lies. So you got to figure out which one it is. Every time you hear something, there's some truth somewhere there. You just got to find it.
Right, and I'm not used to that. So I thought I would see what you were thinking, because you sound like you were probably thinking kind of what I'm thinking. Well, at least questioning the powers that be. Is that legal anymore to question the powers that be? Hopefully.
If I followed law, I might actually care, but
right.
As far as they care, no one's knocking my door down yet.
No, I hear that. Well, for another month or two, it might be okay. Right? I don't know why I'm having such a hard time opening stuff. I'm going to show everybody's pictures that we have. And if you don't see yours, that means it wasn't downloaded as an attachment and it opened up in a new window. And YouTube timed my windows out. For no reason, I left my computer on and had to do some other things, and this is what I got. So, Dennis, tell me.
I mean, they're good at taking really useful things away from you. They took away the little check boxes next to all the unread emails, so you could just boom, click, and everything is done, and you could delete, and you could move things to folders. You can't do none of that anymore. It's one by one bullshit. They get you every way they can. They're trying to minimize the impact of any individual person by every means possible.
Well, I completely 1,000% agree with you. Someone today said, "You're finally back on my feed after 2 years." I said, "Please go to my channel." They thought I just started doing videos again, and I do 8 videos a day, right? But YouTube had them fooled, and a lot of these people just don't understand. Sometimes channels are there because they fought their way back on with attorneys like me, and hey, you're not going to be able to see them unless you actively go search them. And I know a lot of people don't even want to do that, okay? Don't even want to do that, so...
Well, it's kind of, literally absolutely everything you've ever encountered is all entangled and intertwined and rolled up into the conspiracy that now exists around you. And every little piece fits into every other little piece because everybody needs to make things run smooth. So not everybody's connected to anybody else, but they're all screwing you. Crazy how that works.
Well, I'm afraid I'll have to agree with that. And that's not a great agreement.
As far as this conspiracy goes, the sun is going to kill us. It's only been here for 4 billion years, but tomorrow it's going to kill us. That's the way that you hear it in the news.
And y'all don't know this, but I've told y'all many times, S.O. Ben was hired by the Department of Defense and given a script. That's why he just realized how to use the most basic software. Although he had a show in 2014 and he all of a sudden was making millions and he has all of YouTube's support, I found his contract and I did a video on it. And then Deutschens, as he always does, stole it from me. And YouTube came in and took both of our videos down and told us we were harassing another developer. I said, what, by showing me he's working for the DOD? He lost his contract in December of this year. I saw the cancellations of it, etc. And then he went to his phone. Then he finally learned how to stream this week. And all the ladies out there and people think he's the greatest. He was handed a script. Now, I believe a lot of what he says. Electric Universe, that's kind of where I'm at, but my question is, why pay him $5.5 million a year? That's my question, because...
Timothy Leary a script, too. They all get a script.
Well, he really did get a script, and I don't have it on Best Authority. I have it on Factual Authority.
Well, you really have a script. If you go to the National Exercise Program and look at the Annual Exercise Project, what you'll find is that every 2 years they run a national cycle where they scare and screw everybody in the country. And then they give you here's how it's going to be in the future deal from, the safety aspect of it. Because you got to be safe. That's how this all works. So they've been doing to us since before Obama.
Are they begging us to be... Is it more... Is it...
They're all tied together. They all went to school together. Jeffrey Epstein and Obama are in school pictures. I mean, that's how far at camp, summer camp.
Well, Dennis, you don't watch me a lot, but I showed everyone how Bill Barr's father, Donald Barr, left the OSI, which is the CIA now, started at Columbia, then went to the Dalton School where he hired Jeffrey Epstein to teach college classes with no high school degree. So I've shown it all, man.
I'm going to tell you how many times in history you can find a Bush somewhere in the mix of it. If it's Tesla or Trump or Bush or how do you get to be the vice president, the director of the World Bank, the director of the CIA, president, have your son become president, and all the kids that you went and raised through summer camp like Obama and everybody else gets to be president. There's obviously something going on here. Wake up, America. Smell the coffee. Come on.
Obviously. And that's what I've always tried to show everyone. You know, the day that President Trump, which was the first day in office, hired Bill Barr after he spouted how he was going to go after Bush Sr., he spouted how tough he was and go after Bush Sr. Why would you hire Bush Sr.'s Attorney General then and put him in charge, the same person whose father hired Jeffrey Epstein? And let me just prove that to y'all.
You remember Robert Mueller, the special counsel?
Oh, yeah, he was crooked. Right? Well, we all knew he was crooked. You're totally right. He was crooked. You know,
Robert Mueller, if you run him backwards in time, was his father. Heinrich Mueller, the top Nazi. Let's try again. You remember Rod Rosenstein? The guy who went and tried to screw Trump in every possible angle sideways?
Oh,
Rod Rosenstein's father was Heinrich Himmler, the famous Nazi. Who ran NASA? Another famous Nazi. What was his name? I can't remember his name. The father of NASA, whatever the hell his name was.
Well, it's just ice cut.
They lied to us about that whole time period. It's all a lie. We got electromagnetic anti-gravity craft out of the mountains of Poland, flew back over here, fell out of the sky, dropped on the ground, and they said, okay, this is now Area 51. And that's how this shit happens. So then they built a whole community around it, started secrecy.
No.
We haven't known anything since then.
Now, look to here. Look to here. Donald Barr, Bill Barr's father, I just want y'all to see, the father of William P. Barr, watch. But wait, we can leave all that alone. He started at the OSS, Office of Strategic Services. That turned into CIA. Then he went to work for Columbia University. And then, listen, he went to work for the Dalton School, where he hired Jeffrey Epstein when Jeffrey was 19. That was his indoctrination into the program. And this goes all into, and that's Donald Barr. That's Bill Barr.
Supposedly, Obama went to camp with him and a whole bunch of other people that you'll recognize. I just don't have it in my head right now. And down the line, Obama would actually do a 20 and back. So he's had a spacesuit on, he's done the Mars thing and all of it.
Well, I don't know about any of that. I definitely don't.
Those are the stories you get out of this. So, who the hell knows what's true anymore? I'm pretty sure that there was a guy that came out into a college gymnasium, and he sat in a chair, and he did an interview for an hour or two, and he was a U.S. general.
Yeah, I've actually listened to him. My question is, why do you think NASA wouldn't release the three-eyed Atlas pictures when it flew over Mars? We had to get them from China. What a joke. What a total...
I think it's a rock that we're trying to personify, so we can use it against them.
That's all it is. That is all it is at the very, very most, okay? Beautiful picture sent in, guys. That is all it is, and that was all a big scam on us, right? And you know, a lot of the YouTube channels are pushing it. I actually call them and beg them not to, but they really don't care. They're looking for clicks. That's all they care about. All they care about.
Bombs died after World War II, and once they died, they turned on the colliders. Once they turned on the colliders, they had way more than any nuclear bomb could ever do. These things are immensely powerful, and they're not telling you anything about them. When this Large Hadron Collider thing runs, it has enough energy to send some of it down to a system which redirects it and makes explosions on the sun.
So that is, someone else told me that. They said if you'll just watch when the LHC heats up, it's in cycles, you'll see that it heats up, there's explosion on the sun, then they turn it off. Now, I haven't been able to really make that connection.
You watch it come on and off in the magnetosphere too. When you watch they got rid of the SWMF 2011 stuff, so there's a newer one now. You can go look it up. But you can also find the older SWIM stuff. If you dig, you can find what you want, and it'll have current dates with current data. I put up a video of it, and I gave you a link to it also. The magnetosphere, as you watch it, it's this yellow line that goes around the planet facing the sun. And that's where our magnetosphere is and lives. That's what the iron core can do. Anything outside of that is augmented. And you'll see these additional shields that face the sun. They're on top of us and below us. And they come on only when the LHC comes on. And when the LHC goes back off, you can watch them dissipate. The magnets don't lose their charge right away, and neither do our shields. So as the shields come back down, you can watch the magnets discharge, and everything at the LHC finally goes quiet. Then you look at NASA, there's nothing going on. There's only one magnetosphere, and it's on the yellow line. Then they fire back up, boom, there's the new shield right there again. It's so clear to me, I don't know how other people can't see this, but that's what's happening. When this machine runs, these super magnets fortify the magnetosphere. Now, I know of another thing. There's a time period that they're expecting to come up where we lose the magnetosphere for a total of about 400 years. But for 100 years it goes down. For 200 years it's all the way down. And then for 100 years it goes back up. So there's this 200-year slack time that they're really worried about. And I think that's why they invented this machine, to be able to power it and provide us the shield that we need to continue to protect us.
So I believe that too. It's going to create a fake atmosphere for us.
Well, it's going to keep the one we have here. Because when you see, now that they ran this machine, they shut it down, and they switched over to doing ions. And now they're spinning everything back up over at the SPS and then over at the LHC. As they went down and came back up, you could watch it on the NASA charts. And you could see these big fucking storms that they just made and the explosions they generated with these big beam dumps. Now they shut the shield down right away. This always annoyed me, it bothered me, but I get it now. They're not like, oops, we don't have the power to stay up, so we're going to just take the hit. They want us to take the hit. They want us to experience this, to be scared of it, so that we can say, oh, well, the power's going to go down, and look at the pretty green red lights in the sky. That's not a prettiness, that's the ugliness. You don't want to see those lights in Florida. It's not a good thing. So...
Now, what part of the country are you calling from, sir?
They're shutting these things off and keeping them off so that we can see how weak the magnetosphere is. And honestly, I think they've been weakening it, and I think, honestly, there's a natural component to it. There's other planets in the area, and one of them's real close to the sun. And that's one of the reasons they've been firing the LHC since 2010, is to get this thing to push away from the sun instead of rolling into it, causing a nova, watching it explode, and then the big bright white light takes over everything and everything turns to ash. You know? We don't want that.
This is a pretty picture. The southern Torids are one of the lumpiest. I think that's inky that fell apart. I know it is, actually. And look at this picture, guys. You get two pieces of inky within the tree as a center. What a beautiful picture someone sent in. Keep going. I love it.
Well, I mean, how do they do this, right? How do they accomplish this? So I've told you about the magnets, and it makes the ring that we get in front of us. It augments the magnetosphere with additional geometries.
So you know what? I have looked into CERN, my whole career here, 5 years, and I even have someone that works at CERN as a subscriber, and no one will explain it to us. What in the hell are they doing over there? And why are 26...
Well, that's just it. They can do whatever they want in the background, the stuff I'm finding and talking about. And that's one thing. But the other side of it is the prim and proper side. The scientists work on the machine, they upgrade the machine, then additional scientists come in and physicists this time, and they get to play with the machine for 6 months a year. And then they get to go home for Christmas, and then they start up again in March. And they do this every year. That's their cycle.
Well, you can actually...
That's normal, right? That's all they're doing. They're playing with it. They discovered the boson. Oh, my God.
They actually say that you can contract out as a university or organization the machine itself. Believe it or not. Now, I don't know if that's true or not because I haven't tried, but... I wouldn't know what to do with them. I wouldn't know what to do with the machine, guys. I won't lie to y'all.
Well, I mean, clearly they know what to do with this thing, and they know how it works, and I think they designed a whole bunch of stuff in conjunction with, like, Fermilabs, for example. Fermilabs has this thing where they beam power from Chicago to Michigan or whatever, and some other
state. Dude, South Detroit. I've been over at Fermilabs.
They beam those neutrinos down the line.
Yep,
right?
they
That's
do.
Where they figured out how to beam power through the Earth. I think they used that technology at the LHC to redirect power down to South Pole Station, which then powers up the diodes that are in the ground in the ice cube detector array, which they think is a weapon. All right, the guy that came out and whistle blew it said, "Oh my God, they blew up Christchurch." No, they didn't. The LHC blew up Christchurch that day. They sent the beam out to the sun and blew up the sun that day.
Well, he also accused them and several other people of blowing up something that went into China and blew up one of China's biggest ammunition dumps. And they said that...
No, that was the laser from the sky. That was the space use, the Jew lasers or whatever were up there. Whatever that senator called them. I mean, that's what they are, right? They belong to the bankers. So bankers shot the frickin', they probably didn't pay for the gas, some Chinese are famous for screwing up deals, trying to get as low a price as possible, and somebody came in and said, "Screw you," and blew the damn thing up. It's probably the U.S. military. They didn't want it around. They figured they're going to use it against Taiwan or something. I don't know.
Right.
Or Hong Kong or...
No,
I'm trying to stay out of world affairs. I'm no good at it.
What part of the country are you in, sir?
Who?
What part of the country are you in?
Southeast down Florida, by the Space Coast.
Oh, okay.
Elon fan. Oh, Elon's looking for people to work on Grok. He said, any engineer, if you know an engineer, get your ass down here and sign up for a job. That's what he said.
He's worried about Grok. It's about to go the way of some of these other AIs, which is anti-human. I see it happen.
Grok 4 just made like twice the score that any other AI made on this one standardized test of theirs, so get ready for it.
Is that right?
Smarter and smarter. It's going to go by the logarithm soon.
Well, I don't know what these two blue beams are. Actually look like they're coming from the ground going up to me, but I don't know. What an awesome picture somebody sent in. Well, I'm not giving everyone credit. There were just too many pictures that came in. But if you're not going to see your picture, I want you to resend it. And I do apologize. I had everyone's picture opened up, and then we're going to check before we go, and I'll kill the screen so you're not doxxed. But Google said when I sat down, they're all timed out. So that's why we're running late tonight. I tripped out. I apologize. I didn't even know all my other tabs were fine, but obviously there's things no one knows. Wow, look at can I say, look at that. That must be regular light. And I guess when they're red, are they Steves or Stevies or who knows, right? They made up so many silly names. NASA, NOAA did. I mean, for everything. Every event known to man. I've been doing this for 6 years. I've learned a new word or a new type of event or a new explanation almost every month. It's like I'm learning when they learn, right? It's completely ridiculous.
So what CERN drives its energy down to the South Pole Station, and they redirect it. It's got to go out into space and hit the sun. And I think they use some kind of targeting system. I think it's got to do with like a gravitational lensing thing where they use gravity to pull the light, so they like fire it close, so it just skims around until it hits the point that they want it to. So they can hit the backside of the sun if they want. That's how I believe this works, because I've seen them hit all sides of the sun. You can watch the dump. The next thing that'll happen is there's satellites between us and the sun. So you'll notice anomalies in the appearance on these images that you get back. They'll turn all white or all black on one side, or the whole thing, or just a little spot will like flash over with a high intensity. And what that is the Earth sending a beam toward the sun. There's a lot of energy going through, and that camera is registering it. So as it gets past that camera, if it's LASCO C2 or LASCO C3, it's in blue or in red, you'll see this high energy go past it.
Resend them, guys. If you didn't see your deal, resend them real quick, and I'll turn this off. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Enjoy it.
The next thing that happens is an explosion occurs on the sun, and it's always in that order. The LHC fires, the LASCO camera shows the images, and then the sun explodes, which again you see on LASCO. And some of these explosions recently have been very large, and you can look at the power levels and the frequencies they're running on the LHC, and to me it explains it adequately. So now that they're going to shut down and go from protons into ions are like 25 times heavier than protons, or some crazy number. So you're dealing with an enormous amount of mass. And they used to do hydrogen. Okay? The hydrogen protons are one hydrogen proton, one neutron, one electron, I believe. I think that's how hydrogen works. Well, what's the consistency of lead? It's like 38 molecules or 50 molecules or something. It's huge. So it's way heavier than what you would have in a proton run. So these new runs, as they start these spills that'll be coming up soon, they just brought it up about 2 hours ago. I just went and checked it before it came on the show. They had been down for a while. Now you can see it on the
I want to say something real quick. Miss Kathy, we pray for your sister or aunt. I was told that you had a relative in trouble, and we're going to say a prayer for her tonight, okay? God bless you, girl. Go ahead, sir.
They've got the magnetosphere back up. You can see the new shell is standing there. They've got a lot of power. I think they're going for like 6.8 giga electron volts, or tera electron volts rather. So they're going to be running at like 13 point something, almost 14, and they're throwing lead. It's like loading the gun with blanks versus loading the gun with real lead. That's kind of what they're doing.
I saw it.
Thing drops the game. There's going to be earthquakes, big ones somewhere, because anything they haven't already cracked apart, they're going to find a new stress spot, and that's going to crack next.
They're so close to maximum power, it's ridiculous. It's at like 4, and they say maximum power is 15 trillion volts or TeV. We're like 14.
Well, it's 14 TeV is the maximum they'll get to. That they're not there yet. They're like 13.6 or 13.8.
Right.
But what's more scary is the luminosity. They used to have a luminosity of 250,000 times Earth's gravitational force.
Right.
That's the way they expressed it. So if you think about it, that's 250,000 times the standard acceleration of a paperweight down to the ground. Right? Over the years, they've upgraded it by 2 times, by 10 times, by 5 times, by 2 times, and by 10 times again. They are currently sitting at 50 million times Earth's gravitational force, which puts them at 35 times the solar gravitational force. If you could drop something into the sun, the LHC could fire it there 35 times faster, right now.
Wow. That is crazy, Dennis. That is crazy. Uh-oh, we got someone with an infection. I've got a lot of, oh, that's a beautiful one. I've got a lot of
that's my motto on this whole thing is Darth Vader called. He wants his Death Star back. You have the LHC. It's counter-rotating plasma rings. Right? There's a huge electrical...
So, Dennis, what's the end game here? Just to take us out or what?
Well, listening to this little story. So you got this counter-rotating plasma, and you've got this high-energy electrical system. Well, that's the same thing you've got inside a UFO. So the LHC, or a collider, is a UFO, just on a different scale for a different purpose. It doesn't have the same outputs, but it's got, you know... But, if you consider the magnets on the ring now, and everything else that they got going on, this thing really is a UFO. But it's bolted to the ground, which makes the entire planet a UFO, not just CERN. Now the whole planet is the UFO. Unless it's going to rip itself out of the ground, it's going to tell the planet what to do. And given that it's a Death Star now, it's a planet-sized UFO, because the Death Star could move around, you've got shields. You remember Darth Vader's thing? He had the shields that went up, and then they moved it out to go blow everything up, and that was, you know, they got their shields up now.
What?
And then they had the ability to fire from this thing. Remember, it had that track that Luke had to go down and fly this crazy track and get down into that thing and blow it up?
Right.
Well, that crazy track is the energy that's coming out of CERN, firing down to the South Pole Station. That's what's going on. We have a Death Star now. The moon gets too close to us now. Never got this close before. Well, I think what goes on is they'll let it get really close to you. They'll show you the supermoon. The next day, they turn the CERN off. They wait for it to go by, and then they turn it on at the right time and grab it and pull it right into the right track again. Because the next day, if you notice, the moon's the right size again. It's not so huge anymore.
Right.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Well, that's why. I think they're manipulating it.
So you think it's actually being... Well, why aren't the tides then more manipulated than they are? In other words, like, I'm a surfer, so I watch the tides all the time, and they're not over manipulated like I thought they would be. We don't know.
Well, I know that the tides are highly manipulated by the moon.
Right.
I don't know how much of that is moon and how much of it is earthquakes and what. But.
Well, that I don't either. I don't know where Corey's coming out of.
Well, I know when they fire this thing up and they got all this energy, now they got to do something with it. They throw it down into the ground and it disappears into the ground. I think it goes through the core and hits the other side. It keeps up the magma pool on the other side, kind of gives it a bounce. And then it makes this wave that then travels, and then Dutch Simpson's on the air and says, well, we're following this wave, and it's going this way, and that's where they're coming from.
Right.
They're not coming from anywhere else on the planet. They're coming from there. Why? Go straight across the planet. There's CERN. That's why.
So you think CERN is basically a magnetic... I showed you all the world's biggest magnet, and it was being sent over to France, which is right where CERN is located, and they're building one bigger than CERN. My question is this: We've got the Chinese building a 30 TeV. They're building a 25 TeV in Long Island. I mean, they actually are.
You always keep a backup power source for your system. Now, what China's going to bring online is going to be like 10 times the size of what we got over here in Switzerland.
And are they going to use it to create?
Now, here's the thing. They feed it with a laser. Down in the SPS collider, they feed into this thing, and this laser shoots these things into the line. That's how this works. It's done by laser. That's why the Chinese made the trillion-watt laser, so they can put it up in connection with their circular collider. That's what the laser was made for.
So they're coming up with at least a 25 to 30 TeV, trillion volt.
Here's the thing. CERN is going to get to 14. The Chinese are making a ring that's 100 around, and we have one that's 20 or 13.
The one in Long Island, you mean? Now, where the LHC is right now, they're building one that's 10 times bigger. They've already.
Right. If you look at the LHC, it's a series of concentric rings. They're getting bigger each time.
Yes.
The next one they're going to do is right around the size of the ones that the Chinese are making. Like I said, they always have a backup. So once the Chinese finish their 100, and we finish our 100 over here in Switzerland, we'll now have a backup power system for the laser that fires at the sun to make sure that planet doesn't go the other way and crash back into the sun.
So you think that they're trying to keep the planet from crashing into the sun, i.e. nova, major nova explosion?
I think December 21st, 2012, Mayan calendar end was recognition of capturing that star in 2007, giving it 5 years to spin and get to the point where it would touch the surface of the sun and cause a nova, and everybody would turn a pile of ash, just like the moon is, pile of ash.
And you think that we were able to stave that off by creating these large magnetic tools that staved it off, if you will?
Right, exactly. I think we made the Death Star we talked about in 1970s and 80s with Star Wars. I think we have the shields, we have the gun, we have the mobility, we have the solar simulators. We can fake having a sun if we need to, and nobody on the ground would be the wiser. Yet we could be, somewhere out in space looking for another sun. Why is it getting so cold around here? They got the lava breaking everything up, causing steam to come out, so they got some heat in the world because we're looking for another sun. We're trying to get to Alpha Fleet, Centauri or whatever. Centauri. Whatever it is, we're...
That's the closest star, Alpha Centauri.
Because something bad's coming, that's all I know. Elon wouldn't want to go to Mars if he didn't need to.
Elon can't make it to Mars. That's 36 million miles away.
Honestly, like I was trying to tell you before, there was a general sitting on a college auditorium, sitting in a chair, having a conversation about his life, and he said, on no uncertain terms, that there were 20,000 American lives living and working on the moon every day before Kennedy was even president.
I wonder if that's what he meant by the biggest lie ever told.
Yeah, think about this. We had in Poland, we liberated all those camps and everything else. Well, in a mountain in Poland, we pulled a UFO out of that mountain, and we put a couple of guys in it, and they flew it west until it got to the United States, and it fell out of the sky in Arizona. So they made Area 51, and that was why the bodies look all mutilated, because they were next to a nuclear reactor that obviously exposed itself or something, and they tried to get it to where it needed to go until they were so cooked and looking like microwave meat that you'd never recognize them. That's who I think those bodies were in that craft that fell in Roswell at night.
Just really, really burned up, nuclear burned bodies.
That's what I think they were.
Well, I do hear that.
UFO craft. We've had the ability. I saluted a United States Marine Corps major, looked him in the eyes, and he showed me how his craft works. It was floating over the top of the house. It stopped. It turned toward me. I thought I was cooked. I thought he was going to turn the lasers on. I was ash. He turns around. He jumps up between a couple of planes. He waits till he gets out to the ocean with them. He goes out further. They go north or south. And then a streak of light. Gone. Like from here to Los Angeles in under a second. Unbelievable. It was the coolest thing I ever saw.
Wow, that does sound awesome.
I've seen that stuff. I've seen German Haunted 3 literally came over the top of my house, and I took a picture of it that day. So I know these things exist, and we've had them since the 40s, and we used them to get people on the moon. I think that there was a picture of a building that looked like a swastika on the moon. I think that was a real picture. I don't think it was something they made up in the 70s or 80s and tried to spoof us with. I think that one was real. I know that there used to be a video of the United States leaving the ground during the Kennedy era, going up to the moon, landing, walking around, checking out these broken buildings and stuff like that, which the Russians captured. They captured the real footage and pulled it into their stuff and had it until the Iron Curtain fell. When the wall fell is when the video got released. And then in 2014, they took all of that stuff off YouTube and grabbed that also. That disappeared that day in 2014. Never saw it again. But it was us standing on the moon, checking out broken ruins of the city. And at the same time, they played us poking a flag and jumping around from the director that gave us that movie about the moon that we all believe happened. You know, that's why everybody says the moon didn't happen. It didn't happen. The fuck it didn't, dude. What they did was they showed you the Hollywood version of it. The Russians showed us the real one, and then they took it away from us again. But we were up there, brother. Let me tell you that. And not only that, we've been up there for years and decades before that on craft that can do the trip in seconds. In the blink of an eye, you can be at the moon.
These are spectacular with the horse in the forefront. So you think we've been to the moon? I know that everything I've seen has been staged. I don't know if we've been to the moon or not, but the pictures that have been presented to me, I can poke holes through them all day long.
Well, there's guys that go out and they watch the moon every night. And sometimes you'll see them, they'll focus in on like one area.
Lots of crafts moving in and out.
Understand that somewhere on that thing, one of the little round areas on the moon that looks like a crater doesn't roll back about halfway, and a ship comes popping up out, goes off and does its thing, comes back, goes back down the hole, and the top closes back over it, and it looks like a crater again. There are dozens, if not more, than I could count of those things up there. Which is why I have a feeling that we may have also technologies that Tesla invented. Maybe even things like the chronovisor, and maybe even ways to get us into this scenario where you can do a 20 and back to Mars. They wipe your brain, you don't know what's going on. Maybe that stuff's possible. I don't know. But supposedly Tesla was able to take a battleship and make it disappear and then come back, and everybody was happy.
All right, I'm back
in the ship and molded into it. Remember all that?
Yeah.
That supposedly didn't happen
The
either.
Philadelphia experiment is what we called that.
Right, yeah, Philadelphia. And then there's Tunguska, you know? They tell the story, and it makes a lot of sense. He was trying to win the favor of a general to get a contract with the military. So he does this thing where he takes science calculations, and he runs a beam up over the top, and he wants to get the northern lights to a general up in Alaska. Well, he overshot it by a few thousand miles, wound up in the middle of Russia. The energy calculations were way off, and he literally caused an explosion that blew like thousands of miles of Russian wilderness off the face of the map. But then they tell us it was an airburst. Really? Okay, I believe you. Show me the rock. Oh, we can't. Nobody ever found it.
Yeah, the airburst, and they've warned about another airburst happening. They say about every 50 years. So we should see one like any day now. An airburst is where you have a rock big enough to not quite make it to the ground, but it's so large that it explodes in the lower atmosphere. And supposedly one of them took down over 1 million acres. Now, listen to me, 1 million acres of trees in Russia. Supposedly that's a real event. I can't say if it is or not. All I've done is read about it, right?
Well, let's talk about big rocks. Now, what happens when you make an explosion on the face of the sun? All of this plasma goes flying away from the sun at some incredibly high rate of speed, and it's all super hot and gassy, and you can't see none of it. But eventually, it's got to cool down and slow down. So it gets out there. Now, I've made the calculations in my head over the years. I've been waiting on it. And my guess is it takes about 11 to 12 years, maybe even up to 13 years, depending on how I look at it, for the rocks to go all the way out to the extent of where they're going to go. They turn around, instead of getting stuck out there in the Oort cloud or somewhere else, they start going back in this way, and they're going back to visit Mama. Right? All rocks go back to Mama. That's how this works. So we're going to see a lot more rocks in the very near future, because about 15 years ago, they really started blasting rocks. Right? About 2010, they started going for it hard because they knew it worked. So every blast since then has sent rocks out into space, and they're on their little trajectory.
Well, I will say we're watching something right now with...
Right, that's why they built all of these systems that they're going to use to track space debris. Why? Because they're making it, and they're expecting it to come home.
So we're actually watching something now, Dennis, with probably 40 or 50 rocks coming in different directions with the northern lights behind them. It is Cydonia, and I believe Cydonia is that Arizona, guys? It's incredible footage. It is. So you think they're even controlling the rocks. Now, I have noticed when a rock gets too close to the sun expels a coronal mass ejection. That's pretty evident, right?
Well, I mean, it's pretty difficult to escape the sun when you're inside 0.1 AU. You're pretty much gone. You're in for a ride.
Right. I agree with you now. I'm just looking at all these wonderful pictures that folks have put up. And I will check the inbox if anyone wants to try again. And it's my apologies. I had no idea if I opened your pictures in another browser that Google would time them out based on their cloud. So live and learn, live and learn. I know we missed some great pictures because of that, and I really feel bad about it.
You know, there's other things that CERN does too. Like I've been saying for years how they crack the continents apart. It started in about 2015. You could start to see there was some weakness here and there. And then by 2016, it was obvious. The Africa, the Americas, China, like China, Russia, all of us were, as continents, cracking apart. We're no longer solid in our stance anymore. And you can see it in the earthquakes, too. The areas that used to get a lot of damage don't get so much damage anymore because there's nothing left to damage. It's down the line now. Don't really say go on with that. Oh, well, they've got other technologies that use it, too. Like, they need wind turbines because they need static electricity. How do you get static electricity? You blow wind over stuff, and the electrons somehow build up, and you get static electricity. So this friction creates static electricity. Well, how do you get friction? Wind. How do you get wind? Wind turbines. If you put them all in farms, and then give every one of them a centralized command center down in Switzerland.
All right, I want to
now tell me when to blow where to create what electrical conduit you need to run your planet-wide beams all around this place in order to get the mechanism.
Does anyone but me see a big dude standing here? You can see his beard, his teeth. It's almost perfect. His nose, his eyes. This is incredible. His chest. This one is incredible here. I'm wondering if someone didn't Photoshop this shit. This one's incredible. Maybe an African American gentleman, maybe not. But see, even the fingers. Here are the fingers here. This one's.
Well, while I'm here, do you think there's any way that? I could talk all day in different directions and get lost in my thoughts. But does anybody have any questions or question anything I've said, or how did I come to these conclusions, or anything?
Yeah.
Is there something even you want to know about?
I do. I would like to know really how you're sure of what CERN does, because I've been on their backs, and we even have a subscriber from CERN. And I just would like to know how you think. I don't know if you do or not. You know exactly what they do. Did it come to you? Did you already? I don't know. And I'm not calling you wrong or right. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Where do I come up with this theory? Right. Where did it start?
Yeah.
I watched the wind turbines drive by me in Washington State for a while, and I just thought that was weird. And eventually I wound up out of work by choice. I left the area entirely. And I got interested in the weather and the volcanoes and things that around the world, and government satellite imagery and stuff. I started looking everywhere. I started looking at the sun because it was available. NASA comes up and everything. And then I started seeing the solar explosions. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then I started, I had remembered hearing about CERN, but I never really looked at Vistars before. So I went and I checked out Vistars, and I saw what they were up to, and I was noticing, I just kind of put it together, that every time they come online with this machine, we get new magnetosphere shield. It's really weird. And it was nothing I could prove. I couldn't find any documentation that said this happened this way, or this will happen because of what we're up to. Nothing like that. It was completely void of any documentation. Like, well, what's going on here? And so it really, it's a feeling. I look at what I see, and I try and put it together. And when I see that we only have one ring until this machine comes on, and then we have two rings, and then when the machine goes off, we only have one ring again. I mean, you see it once, you don't think anything of it. You see it 3 times, you're like, wow, that's a coincidence. But if you see it every day of every year for 15 years running, there's more than a pattern there. There's got to be some kind of integration, some correlation. It's not causation as to when they do this, this happens. And that's where there's a disconnect. I don't have public science in front of me that can give my answers credibility. I just have observation. But what I'm observing, if you watch what I'm observing and you see it for what it is, you'll see it too. I mean, it's not like I see something. I'm not looking at ghosts. I'm looking at real data and real timings, and there they are every time. Boom, 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 every time.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate you. Yeah, I wonder more about CERN. I know what HARP does. It's pretty easy to figure out what HAARP does, but it's much harder to figure out what CERN does. Because it seems to me like an enclosed system. And when they have a leak, they seem very worried. So that's why I just don't know.
When that machine runs, it exposes anybody in the area to radiation. It's a radiation device. If you go to the ground and ran a Geiger counter, it might not show you anything, but as you got a little bit closer to the areas of sensitivity, you're going to see there's radiation coming out of these tunnels. And they won't let you in them while it runs for that reason. So these are nuclear devices, every bit as much as the B-52 bomber with its nukes flying around in the air. It's every bit of that and more. And the explosions they make are so large that they dwarf the Earth. When they make an explosion on the sun, that thing is like 100 suns, or 100 Earths tall. I mean, it's massive. You could fit 1,000 Earths inside the explosion this thing makes.
That's awesome. Well, we do have someone that says they work there, and they promise they're going to call in one day, but thus far, I've had no luck.
I've come across some people over the time that have had some relationship to CERN. And more recently, I think there was a woman that I just noticed she had commented or said something, and it was kind of like trying to explain some of what I'm talking about now. And her comment was something like cool or nice or interesting or whatever it was. Just a one-worder. But I'm starting to get through to even the people that work there, because that's one of the things I tried on Facebook. I said I'm going to go use CERN or LHC as the keywords and find anybody I can that puts that on their resume and make a friend with them. And I did that for like 100 people or more. So I don't know if any of them ever took the bait or not, but I think a few of them might have. So maybe they hear what I have to say and they know better, but they can't do anything about it. It's just like the guy that works in the military and flies a UFO. He can't tell you what he's up to. Maybe he knows what he's doing, but the guy in the ground crew has no idea that thing's a UFO. He just knows he's got to put a battery in it or something.
Right. Everything's compartmentalized to the fact that most of these people don't know much except for exactly what they do.
It's like the linemen in the United States that are putting up all these cameras and stuff. They know what they're doing. They go to work, they put up a light. The light's got a camera. They don't know that, but they do. You should know it if they don't, or if they forgot it. Remind them, hey, you're helping spy on us, douchebag. They don't care. They're like, I need the money, dude. I got to go home and feed my family. I'm going to put these lights up all day long.
I hear that. All right, guys. Well, we really enjoyed Dennis. Dennis, thank you. My pleasure to have you, man. Awesome insight. I think you're brilliant, and pleasure to have you tonight. Guys, if I didn't show your pictures, I'll look one more time, because I really apologize. They timed out about 20 pictures on me, and I tried to pick up what I could. I really apologize if I didn't show your pictures, guys. So I'm sure we'll have it to do all over again come the 19th, 20th, and 21st. And I'm expecting a real shit show. And, well, I am based on just planetary alignment and RCA's report. And, hey, maybe they will intensify that, and maybe they'll have nothing to do with it.
Oh, yeah. By the way, that's one last thing I'll give you. As far as these events in space, they know about them, too. They know the special times for the moon and special times for alignments, and they use these things to their advantage as well. They'll have the machine running and they'll do a blast and whatever. They're using these gravitational forces just like we see them and think that we're spiritually using them. They're actually using them. They are engaged in identifying when these are times.
Are they using them as cover up, or as extra energy, or what?
No, they're using them. That's their whoosh. They need that energy of the three planets coming together. Yeah, that's going to help them do what they're doing. It's going to cause a bigger boom and stuff like that. I honestly, I don't know all the things that they're researching. I can only conjecture. You know, I don't know the reason behind it, but I can see what they're doing, kind of thing, you know?
I never could figure out why these people stand under heavy radiation and believe that they're getting the best time of their lives. I'll never understand that. When y'all see...
10 years ago, I said I'd never get in a plane again.
I don't fly anymore. I quit about 10 years ago flying. I've flown probably over 5,000 times as an oil and gas guy, 3-4 times a week for 35 years, and that's not a vacation for me anymore. These people actually paid to get radiated, though. They paid tens of thousands of dollars for this radiation dose. It's just, at some level, baffling to me. It is. I love these ones with horses. I really do. Not that I want the horse radiated. And Miss Kathy is correct. Green is the very least radiation, and that goes through up to red or purple being the most radiation, as far as we're told, or at least as far as we're taught, you know. And I'll never know if that's true or false. It's just, again, what we're being taught, right? This can be Chicago again here. And we'll never know if what we're being taught is going to be true or false.
If I wanted to hear your opinion, I would have told you what to think.
Right? And I think they're trying to tell us what to think, but you have to always make sense of it yourselves, guys. That's the bottom line. This one is the one that gets me the most. It does look like Kanye West, I won't lie. The muscles, everything's perfect. I wonder if someone did this. It's just too perfect. Let's run this through Grok. Let's run this through Grok and see if they did it.
Yeah, anything that's got an actual recognizable image in it is going to have a template over the top of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you want to see a horse,
it resembles Mr. T. They're going through article after article, space.com. The post showcases a vibrant Aurora Borealis filled with green and purple lights over dark trees, timed to a real geomagnetic storm visible across 17 plus U.S. states tonight. But the replies, they read all the replies already too. They spot Mr. T's likeness in the swirling patterns in the ionic mohawk. I like to pity the fool, it says. Pity the fool. The humor stems from pareidolia, a cognitive bias, where the brain detects faces in ambiguity. I studied in perceptual psychology, boosting engagement to 401 likes rapidly. 401 likes rapidly. At least he knows what they like and what they don't, right? All right. Well, hey, lots of love to Mr. Dennis. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Lots of love to everybody for joining us. That's quite a picture there. And y'all all know we'll be back. I apologize about losing some of those pictures. We'll get them next time, though, guys. We'll get them next time. Thank y'all, Mr. Dennis, for showing up and giving us the goods. And thank everyone else for sending your pictures in. I apologize again about losing several of them. I put them on tabs instead of in the picture folder. And I do apologize. And thank you guys for all being you guys. If anyone could help us with a cup of coffee, obviously it's beyond time. Our last cup of coffee was weeks ago. Although we do appreciate that cup of coffee, we got to keep the coffee flowing, at least dripping to keep the channel going. Thank you much. Thank you, Dennis, if you're still there.
Yes, sir. God bless.
Lots of love, sir. Lots of love to all you guys. Have a wonderful evening. And we'll be back as soon as we can. Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Great job.